Yay, you got quiet. I didn't even have to tell you. That's so cool. You guys are good. Thank you so much for coming out in August in Saratoga. Give yourself a round of applause for dealing with traffic. And I forgot. I pulled into the parking lot I normally go to, and I'm like, oh no, I have to park somewhere else entirely. We are here tonight to hear the wonderful poetry of Marylou Kelly Streznewski. Let's hear it for Marylou. We're going to have her come up and share her work with us. We're going to have a few open mic poets read, and then we're going to take a short break, and you can look at Marylou's book. She has 3 different books in the back, a couple of chapbooks, and a full-length collection. And then we'll come back with the rest of the open mic poets, and we have a lot of good open mic poets signed up. When it's your turn to read, it's 2 short poems or 1 long poem, so get that ready. I'm going to let you know that Marylou's career, she has been involved in theater, journalism, and she's taught writing in high school, college, and the community level. She has a full-length poetry collection called Sitting in the Shade of My Own Tree. She's published 3 chapbooks. She has also published a nonfiction book called Gifted Grownups, The Mixed Blessing of Extraordinary Potential, which is a study of 100 gifted adults. So maybe some of you are in that. I don't know. I know this is a special crowd usually. She's new to the area, relatively new to the area, but in Pennsylvania, she lived in the Doylestown area, and she made a huge contribution to poetry there. She was the poetry editor of the Bucks County Writer. She received the Bucks County Community College Muse Award for contributions to poetry in Bucks County. And in Beverwyck, where she currently moved and is living now, and let's hear it for all the Beverwyck community people that we have in the audience tonight. Is the bus driver in the room?
I don't know.
Okay.
What the driver is.
Okay. If he's not here, they didn't do such a great job getting them here on time. But they all made it. They're all here, and she's part of a poetry discussion group that you started there. No, I'm sure she's a dynamic member of the group, and she was named their Poet Laureate at the Beverwyck community. That's what the advertising is saying. That's the hype around you, Marylou. So let's. Okay, that's good. That's pretty good. That's okay. Let's hear it for Marylou Streznewski. Yeah, when you go down, we can use the steps, the railing.
Now is not the time for my knee to misbehave. Good evening. It's really great to be here. I counted it up a couple days ago just because I was curious. I've been writing poetry for 55 years. So, and it's inevitable that in that time, I would have written about a lot of things, everything from the glories of nature to the horrors of war and everything in between. So that's what I plan to read tonight, some bits and pieces of what I've been doing for 55 years. And I think we should start with something beautiful. Morning on Tohickon Creek. A saffron leaf on water frozen in stillness and waterweed shade. Frog rock, porpoise rock, sunlight on a twisted tree. Stalk of grass, 3-bladed, boughs like an ancient sage. Minnows dance above pearls of gravel. And the great door opens again and again. I'm old enough I'm old enough that I remember Pearl Harbor, and I have a memory from World War II that has haunted me for years. It's called The Summer of '44, based on the fact that the reports were that in his desperate last months, Hitler was drafting 12-year-olds. I was 10. There was a war. Our game that summer was visit the train station, a gaggle of middle-class urchins not come to admire the Victorian ironwood, but to stand on the narrow platform between brick wall and roaring freight. Trapped in a tunnel of noise, we reveled in its beating against us. We chased each other through the tunnel under the tracks, the worst of us dropping poison ivy down the others' backs. The trains that stopped never mattered. Then rumors came of special trains holding prisoners. We haunted the station then, hoping to glimpse the monsters we mimed in the battles that whirled through the bean vines in Uncle Joe's Victory Garden. I don't remember where I ran that day. I only know I was alone, standing on the bare platform in a silent pocket of heat when a train slowed, only slowed. I saw guards and slumped figures in seats. He was leaning out the open rear window of the final car. Tallow-colored hair, pure Aryan cheekbones, hunched shoulders, and a grim, set mouth. The eyes that caught mine were blue. They glared at me as the train slid down the track, have glared all these years at a stork-legged child in blonde braids and wrinkled sundress who gaped at his misery. The voice of now still wonders what kindness allowed him that window. The voice of then simply whispered in wonder and disgust, "He's a kid, like me." In the newsreels I watched at the Saturday movies, teenage GIs with bayonets herded German women lugging corpses out of Dachau. On the flickering screen above my living room rug, Saigon street executions have been carried out. Somalis burn before my eyes. Bosnians, Kurds, Muslims, Americans die on the evening news. But all I know of war firsthand is the hollow face of a prisoner of war, glaring from the back of a train that recedes forever across the hot silence of a New Jersey summer when I was 10 and there was a war and he was 12. I have always been sure that he was 12. We've all complained about the rain. But one of the things a lot of rain does is give you the most amazing strawberries. And like all the other wonderful things in nature, we keep trying to hang on to it. This is called saving strawberries. I decide to freeze them, these unbelievable rounded triangles whose skin is nubby, like benevolent sandpaper, dry, like snakes surprisingly are, whose sheen when I open them should be flat ruby glass, not flesh, blood red. And whence this heft within my hand? It cradles huge presences beyond the delicacy of strawberries, long lacy dresses, honey-haired sylphs in graceful straw hats, trailing pink ribbons. Each one fills my palm with weight and deepness. I place them whole on cold metal to freeze them, tasting here and there, as if to make myself believe again in tart, sweet flavor overflowing. In this year of rain, they captured all the downpour, mixed it with sugar to feed us nectar. What makes us think they felt an obligation? I dream December. Imagine bringing forth a scarlet harvest to eat among the snows. Will there be icy tang of summer in the 5 o'clock dark? Fool, the flavor won't be the same. Face it, what I am trying to save is June sunshine, the mimosa branch half bloomed at my window, a crow posing in the apple tree. Stained fingers have made the sink an abattoir of slaughtered fruit, green stars where stems were ripped from bloody flesh. Inspecting my reddened hands, paper towels which look like they have mopped up blood, I save the strawberries. I tear the green star leaves with blameless fingers and fill my mouth with warm red flesh. Those are from Woman Words, which is a chapbook. This is from Sitting in the Shade of My Own Tree. And it's part of what I feel is the poet's responsibility to speak out, not only about all the beauty, but about the awful things. The minute I heard what happened to Roe v. Wade, I knew who the women would be who would suffer the most. Not the ones who had the choice to seek an abortion, but those of us like myself whose pregnancy ended without their choice. All of my sisters who have had miscarriages. This is called Song for a Child Who Never Was. Nameless, sexless little might have been, nature's accident, both coming and going, sent spinning into limbo one Thursday afternoon just before Halloween, while the living were taking their naps. Being I carried following instructions in covered plastic to the hospital where the nurses ran and I lost consciousness. They call you a spontaneous abortion. They use that reverberating word to me about you. It is the word of black-robed justice, blind, the word of holy-eyed men thrusting plastic bags into politicians' faces, the word of arm-linked women defending clinics. In silent grieving, the screamers never think about or see. I call the fear-faced women sisters. But down the years, how shall I call you? Miscarriage, accident, fetus, product of conception, bloody pulp, my fifth child. That's a rough one. And so we need a little lightening up. This is called The Bridesmaid's Tale, with apologies to Margaret Atwood. How many maids does a bride require? It depends on friends who will wear with a smile ruffles that jiggle down the aisle like a pink souffle on the chubby one, fat curls framing the athlete's face like a transvestite effect, a midnight blue creation complete with hoop in which one cannot sit down, skin-tight ice blue satin under which one wears nothing that won't require joining a gym, and which one agrees to pair with the usher who doesn't talk, her hungover cousin who sweats, the married one who pinches, his college friend who ignores her. It is her day, they tell each other, and hide the pictures. Lots of you have been there, I know. I wouldn't be standing here before you tonight if it hadn't been for one of those events in one's life that one never expects. I had 63 years, and then I lost my husband in the middle of the pandemic, not to COVID, but to cancer. And I've written who knows how many grief poems. I'm just going to share a couple. It was August 28th. The poem is called Elegy Approaching August 28th. Before I watched you die, the 28th of August was a late summer day. Marina's birthday coming soon, Labor Day looming. The house was still mine, gorgeous greened-in acre, the flowers happy at the end of season. Once they took you to the fire, time flew over my life, taking the books, the treasures, and finally me, away, away to a nowhere place of rooms that were not ever mine, a bed too narrow to hold my fears, family who could not know my state. Winter and Christmas were cold and gray, long weeks of dark and snow, and every 28th a mark of separation. Spring meant another move to a world of others who had loss and grief like mine, an apartment where I am supposed to like being alone with the paltry survivors of my tsunami'd life. And just up ahead, waiting for me, is the 28th of August. The next poem, I don't usually write prose poems, but occasionally I do. This one, my poetry critique, I say it's a prose poem, and I considered it a grief poem. The members of my poetry critique group said it's not a grief poem, Marylou, it's a love letter. You can decide. It's called The Spoon. Every morning, the spoon was there on the paper towel which had been placed over the flowered placemat, one of the 4 laid out on the round oak table in the small suburban kitchen. The floor was deep red tiles, the cabinets brown wood, 60s style. They were interspaced with modern glass, stove, and dishwasher. The refrigerator, an out-of-fashion yellow, awaited a demise which would replace it with a stainless steel one, which he very much wanted her to agree to. But back to the spoon. It doesn't match any of the other flatware. She has no idea where it came from. She only knows that its rounded handle pleases her hand, and she chooses it always for cereal or soup. He, of course, knows this. He sought it out every morning when he set the table for their breakfast, when he made the coffee, when he went out to get the paper, and called up the weather forecast on the computer. Every day. When she wandered down, still sleepy, there was the paper and the weather forecast. But it is that spoon, no other, which sat shining in the overhead light. It said every day something that she found so generous, so moving, that spoke in so many ways of a man who did not say a great many words. How am I doing on time? No, not too bad. And this is called Grievings. I tap the red urn of his ashes as I pass, smile at the pixie grin on his driver's license. He lived between a dated slide rule and a calculator he said was a small computer. I moved between the shoehorn on the bureau and the crumpled black shoes he wore every day. I see an acre of emerald grass out the window from his dying bed, his face gone chalk white as he died. Marina saw him, standing to one side, smiling, smoking his pipe as she read his favorite poem at the funeral. I live between tears and a giant clenched fist where something has died in me. This next poem I can pry it out of the book. This one was written in Albany. And the subject of it is now 23 years old. It's called Granddaughter's Moon. Behind us in the soft-lit house, her new mother sleeps. Her new father washes the supper dishes. Up to the darkened sky, I hold the fragile warmth of 6 days old. Beyond the black roofline of a house on the next street, the headlight of the universe rises, inch by glowing inch. White it is, on high beam, making luminous this deck, this neighborhood of stately trees, back fences, tomato plants, old dogs, covered pools, abandoned toys, a loping cat. I want this light to fill her wide, awakening eyes, imprint itself on her almost blank brain, so that having drunk silver older than mother's milk, on the sorrow-filled day when she learns to cry for the moon, she will remember, far inside, what she really is. Venus, goddess, woman of the monthly power, caller of the ocean tides, priestess of the planted seed, keeper and carrier of life. She raises her infant hand, a reflex salutation. We are drenched with this shining moonlight, as holy as baptismal water. Two more. And this one is another rough one. But again, as poets, we have to speak out. It's called Voices, May 24th, which was the date of Uvalde, but there are so many more. The voices, it's called Voices. The voices are calm. They are always calm, as the anchor asks the on-site reporter why the death toll rose to 19. Did they just notify more parents, or did they find more bodies? Identity can be a problem, the reporter patiently explains. When you take an engine of war designed to kill 30 full-sized human beings in a single whack and direct it at the body of a fourth-grade child, the pile of gore which results is not something a parent could identify. It may be missing arms and legs. Sometimes only clothing is a clue, or shoes, or DNA. The voices were calm at Columbine, even at Sandy Hook, and we hoped that something would change. But they died at Red Lake, Virginia Tech, Parkland, Santa Fe, Uvalde, St. Louis, Mall of America, Nashville, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Allen. Some voices are not calm, as the kids beg on their cell phones, "Please send the police now." A basketball coach rails on TV, "When will we do something?" The Sandy Hook senator takes to the Senate floor and demands of his colleagues, "Why are you here?" While an army of deranged adolescents, armed with assault rifles, murders our children, and in the land of the free, the home of the brave, a blockaded government sits silently by, and America the Beautiful commits national suicide. And we have to end with something much more upbeat than that. I have always believed that one of the most blessed things about human nature is that we do not know the future, even what will happen to us or with us or for us or by us as we leave here tonight. This poem is called Blessed. It is a summer evening. The view is my Zen garden out the dining room windows. We smile and raise our glasses. How blessed not to know this is the last bottle of wine we will ever share. Honey, come quick, he calls, as the full moon rises, making leaf designs in black and white across the lawn. How blessed not to know this is the last time we will stand encircled in each other's arms, drinking moonlight. The room is dark, our bodies spent, lovemaking over. How blessed not to know this is the last time it will be so. Thank you all for coming tonight. You've been a great audience. And if anybody wants books, I'll be out in the lobby. I am going to have to come down those stairs very carefully because the lights are blinding.